I still can't believe it happened. 1 minute, I was on top of the world, a shoo-in for the biggest promotion of my career. The next, my entire future lay in tatters, crushed by the very people I trust. My name is Alex, and this isn't just a story about a bad day at the office. This is about betrayal so deep it ripped my world apart, and the cold, burning fire of revenge that rose from the ashes. It was Tuesday. The air in the office was thick with anticipation. Everyone knew the senior director position was opening up. For months, I'd been working overtime, pulling off impossible projects, mentoring my team, and basically living and breathing this company. My boss, Mark, had practically promised me the role. "Alex, you are a rock star," he'd say. "This is yours to lose." And Sarah, my closest colleague, my work best friend, was always there, cheering me on, offering advice, celebrating every small victory with me. We'd grab coffee, swap stories about our weekends, complain about upper management. She felt like family. So, when the email came announcing the decision meeting, my heart pounded, but it was with excitement, not dread. I walked into the glass-walled conference room, ready to accept my new title, ready to thank everyone. Mark was there, looking strangely somber. Sarah was there, avoiding my eyes. And then there was Mr. Henderson, the CEO, looking grave. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. "Thank you for coming, Alex. We've made a decision regarding the senior director role." He paused, and my smile was already forming. "We've decided to promote Mark to the position." My smile froze. My brain short-circuited. Mark! But he was already my boss. He was my boss. This was my promotion. I looked at Mark. He looked down at the table. I looked at Sarah. She was staring intently at a spot on the wall behind me. "Mark has demonstrated exceptional leadership and a unique vision for the department's future," Mr. Henderson continued, oblivious to the earthquake happening inside. "While your contributions, Alex, have been invaluable, we believe Mark is the right fit to take us forward at this time." It felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Hard. The air left my lungs. I tried to speak, but no words came out. My throat was dry, my tongue heavy. I just nodded, a pathetic, slow nod. "Thank you," I managed to croak out, the sound barely audible. I turned, stumbled out of the room, and walked straight to the bathroom. I locked myself in a stall, trying to make sense of it. What happened? How could this be? I was the one who revamped the sales pipeline, who brought in the biggest client accounts last quarter, who consistently exceeded targets. Mark was fine, but he wasn't me. He wasn't the visionary. He was the one who relied on my ideas, my drive. Tears welled up, hot and angry. I splashed water on my face, trying to compose myself. I couldn't let anyone see me like this. But the pain was raw, searing. It wasn't just about the promotion. It was about the injustice, the betrayal. Back at my desk, I started reviewing my emails, trying to find a clue, anything that would explain this sudden reversal. My performance reviews were stellar. My project reports were all positive. There had to be something. Then I saw it. An old email thread. It was from 2 months ago, concerning the Phoenix project, a massive client proposal I had spearheaded. In the thread, there was a document attached, a detailed cost analysis I had put together. But something was off. The numbers looked different. I opened the attachment. My stomach dropped. The figures were inflated. Key revenue projections were drastically understated. The risk assessment, which I had carefully minimized with contingency plans, was exaggerated to a catastrophic degree. This wasn't my document. This was a twisted, manipulated version of my work, designed to make the project look like a financial disaster. I scrolled through the email history. The original, correct document was there, sent by me to Mark and Sarah for review. But then, a few days later, a revised version had been sent from my own email address to Mr. Henderson and the entire executive committee. But I never sent it. I never revised those numbers down. I would never sabotage my own project. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was no accident. This was deliberate. Someone had used my account or somehow gained access to send a doctored document that made my most significant project look like a terrible gamble. Who would do that? Who had access? Mark and Sarah were the only ones who regularly had my passwords, who had legitimate reasons to log into my accounts if I was out sick. We had that kind of trust, or so I thought. A cold dread spread through me. It hit me like a physical blow, Sarah. She was the only one who knew all my quirks, all my habits, all my little workarounds. She was always so interested in my progress, always asking for updates on the Phoenix project. She was the one who kept pushing me to share everything with her, just in case she needed to step in. And Mark, he would have known. He would have seen the difference between my real report and this fake one. He would have been complicit, or at least turned a blind eye. Tears came again, but this time they were hot with fury. They didn't just take my promotion. They sabotaged my hard work, my reputation, my entire future. They stabbed me in the back, then watched me bleed. And for what? For their own gain. Mark got the promotion. Sarah, I realized, would likely get my old role, or at least a significant bump for supporting Mark. My mind raced. How could I prove it? It was my email address. It would look like I had sent it myself. It was perfectly executed, designed to make me look incompetent or worse, untrustworthy. The anger was a living thing inside me, burning brighter than any despair. I wouldn't just quit. I wouldn't just walk away and let them win. This wasn't just about a job anymore. This was personal. They wanted a fight? They just started a war, and I was going to win it. I just didn't know how yet. But I would. I would make them regret the day they decided to mess with Alex. The next few days were a blur of simulated normalcy and internal turmoil. I put on a brave face, forced smiles, and offered congratulations to Mark, which tasted like ash in my mouth. Sarah the snake came over to my desk, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Oh, Alex, I'm so sorry. I know how much you wanted this. It's just so unfair." She even gave me a hug, and I nearly recoiled, feeling the venom radiating off her. I managed to nod, utter some platitude about things happening for a reason, and prayed she would just go away. Inside, I was a coiled spring. Every smile, every casual conversation felt like a fresh wound. I couldn't focus on work. Every task, every email, every meeting reminded me of what had been stolen from me. The office, once a place of ambition and challenge, now felt like a gilded cage, trapping me with my tormentors. I spent my evenings staring at the ceiling, replaying the moments of betrayal, dissecting every interaction, searching for clues I'd missed. The manipulated document haunted me, I knew, deep down, that going to HR or Mr. Henderson would be a dead end. It was my email. It was my account. They would say I made a mistake, that I tried to cover it up, that I was a disgruntled employee. The evidence was crafted to point directly at me. It was airtight, a perfect frame. The despair was suffocating. I considered just quitting, packing up my desk, walking out, and never looking back. But then another thought clawed its way to the surface. If I quit, they win. They get what they want, and I'm left with nothing but bitterness and the crushing weight of injustice. That couldn't be my ending. My parents raised me to fight for what's right, to never give up, even when the odds are stacked against you. And this felt so wrong, so deeply, fundamentally wrong. One night, sitting in my living room, scrolling through job boards without any real interest, a strange idea flickered. What if I didn't just quit? What if I built something new, something better? The thought was terrifying, outlandish even. I had a good job, a stable career. Starting a company from scratch, that was for entrepreneurs, for risk-takers, for people who weren't still reeling from a devastating betrayal. The more I thought about it, the more appealing it became. It wasn't just about getting a new job. It was about reclaiming my narrative. It was about proving them wrong. Proving to myself that I was more than just an employee who could be easily discarded. I was a leader, a visionary. I was the one who could make things happen. The ideas for Phoenix Project were brilliant. They just needed someone who wouldn't sabotage them. The initial idea was vague, a hazy outline of a dream. What kind of company? My expertise was in project management and client acquisition in the tech sector. I knew the market inside and out. I knew the pain points of clients, the gaps in service. I also knew the frustrations of employees, especially those working under poor leadership. Company focused on innovation, client satisfaction, and most importantly, a healthy, supportive work environment. That was the dream. I remembered a conversation I had with an old family friend, Uncle Ben. He used to be a CEO of a successful manufacturing company before he retired. He always said, "Alex, if you want something done right, do it yourself. And if you want true freedom, build your own table instead of begging for a seat at someone else's." His words resonated now more than ever. The seed of revenge had been planted, but it wasn't just about destroying them. It was about building something so strong, so successful, that it would dwarf their petty victory. It wasn't just about getting even, it was about getting ahead. I pulled out my laptop and started typing. My mind was buzzing with ideas. I remembered all the times Mark had shot down my innovative proposals, saying they were too risky or not conventional enough. I remembered Sarah always agreeing with him, nodding along. Now I could implement those ideas. Now I could take those risks. Now I could be the one calling the shots. The first step was to appear invisible at my current job. I had to continue showing up, doing my work, but subtly, without drawing attention. I needed to gather intel, to understand the inner workings of the company now that Mark was in charge. I needed to see how Sarah operated. And most importantly, I needed to observe my former team. How were they doing? Were they happy? Were they thriving under the new management? My gut told me the answer was no. Mark was a micromanager, and Sarah, for all her fake charm, was a gossip and a backstabber. They would alienate people quickly. The thought of poaching my old team, the team I had mentored and protected, crossed my mind. It was a bold, almost audacious idea, but it felt right. They were good people, talented, hardworking. They deserved better than Mark and Sarah. And I knew their loyalty was to me, not to the company's management. This wasn't just about me getting revenge. It was about offering a lifeline to people who deserved a chance to thrive. The idea solidified. I wouldn't just start a company. I would build a better company. Company that valued its people, celebrated innovation, and put integrity first. And then, when it was ready, I would make an offer so enticing that my old team would jump at the chance. And Mark and Sarah would watch their entire department crumble, piece by piece, right before their eyes. The thought brought a grim smile to my face. This was going to be a long game, but I was in it for the win. The weeks that followed were a grueling double life. By day, I was Alex, the seemingly defeated but still diligent employee. I went to meetings, completed my tasks, and kept my head down. I offered polite but brief responses to Mark's new directives, which were often vague and poorly thought out. I listened to Sarah's endless complaints about new policies or other colleagues, nodding along while my mind spun with blueprints for my own empire. By night, I was a whirlwind of activity. My tiny apartment transformed into a war room. My laptop became my main weapon. I devoured books on startups, business law, and disruptive technologies. I spent hours researching venture capitalists, angel investors, and government grants. The sheer volume of information was overwhelming, but the adrenaline of my secret mission kept me going. Instead of just offering typical project management services, I decided to focus on specialized AI-driven solutions for workflow optimization and predictive analytics. This was a niche area where I saw huge potential, and it leveraged my unique expertise from the Phoenix project. I poured everything I knew, every innovative idea Mark had shot down into this plan. I called it Ascendant Solutions. The name was fitting. It spoke of rising, of new beginnings. I reached out to Uncle Ben, my wise family friend. I framed it as seeking general career advice, not revealing the full extent of my plan or the betrayal. He was delighted to hear from me. We met for coffee, and I cautiously presented a simplified version of my business idea, omitting the revenge part. He listened intently, his eyes twinkling. "Alex," he said, taking a sip of his tea, "this isn't just an idea. This is a fire in your belly. You have the drive, but building a company takes more than just smarts. It takes grit. It takes a thick skin, and it takes money. Do you have a plan for funding?" I confessed my lack of experience in fundraising. Uncle Ben smiled. "I know a few people. Not personal friends, but professional contacts. People who believe in good ideas and strong leaders. I can make some introductions, but you have to do the convincing." He gave me a list of names, mostly retired executives and angel investors who had a track record of supporting promising startups. This was a godsend. Gave me a legitimate path forward, a way to connect with the right people without revealing my hand to my current company. The meetings with potential investors were nerve-wracking. I polished my pitch deck relentlessly. I practiced articulating my vision, my market analysis, my financial projections. It was a crash course in selling myself and my dream. I faced rejections, polite dismissals, and tough questions that made me sweat. But with each setback, I learned, I adapted, and I refined. The sting of Mark and Sarah's betrayal fueled me, reminding me why I was doing this. I wasn't just pitching a company. I was pitching my comeback. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I got a bite. A small group of investors, impressed by my passion and the robustness of my plan, agreed to provide seed funding. It wasn't a massive amount, but it was enough to get started, to cover initial legal fees, set up a minimal office space, and begin the process of incorporation. The day the funds hit my newly opened business account, I felt a surge of exhilaration. This was real. This was happening. Meanwhile, at my old company, I kept my ears open. The atmosphere was subtly shifting. Mark, now senior director, was struggling to fill my shoes. He was good at presentations and taking credit, but not at the day-to-day management of complex projects or fostering team morale. He became more demanding, less approachable. Sarah, meanwhile, had successfully maneuvered herself into my old role, team lead for the Phoenix project, now renamed probably to erase my influence. She was trying to emulate my style, but her efforts felt forced and insincere. She would constantly ask my former team members for advice on things I used to handle effortlessly. I also started observing my former team members. They were the people I had trained, mentored, and worked alongside for years. They were talented, dedicated, and now visibly stressed. I saw them stay late, saw the frustration in their eyes during meetings. They looked tired, disengaged. Their usual spark was gone. I noted who seemed most unhappy, who was carrying the heaviest burden, who looked the most ready for a change. This quiet observation was critical for my next move. I carefully set up a separate, discreet email address and a burner phone for all my Ascendant Solutions communications. Secrecy was paramount. I didn't want any hint of my activities leaking back to my old company. Every document was encrypted, every conversation carefully chosen. My personal life became a fortress of silence. Only Uncle Ben knew the true extent of what I was doing, and he was a trusted confidant. One evening, after another exhausting day of juggling 2 lives, I looked at the whiteboard in my living room, covered in flowcharts, timelines, and financial projections. It was messy, but it was my mess. This wasn't just a company. It was a living, breathing testament to my resilience. It was the weapon I was forging, piece by painstaking piece for the battle ahead. Target, my old company, and the people who thought they could break me. They had no idea what was coming. As Ascendant Solutions slowly took shape, my focus shifted more and more to my old company, specifically the team I had left behind. Mark and Sarah might have thought they were riding high, but the cracks were starting to show. I had a front row seat to their spectacular mismanagement, and it was a grimly satisfying sight. Mark, now senior director, seemed utterly overwhelmed. He spent most of his time in executive meetings, trying to justify slowing project timelines and increasing budget overrun. He delegated more than ever, pushing immense pressure down onto the team, but without providing any real guidance or support. He was a master of talking big, but terrible at execution. The strategic vision he supposedly had was just a series of buzzwords that translated into confused directives for the actual doers. Sarah, in her new role as team lead, was even worse. She thrived on chaos and office politics. Instead of focusing on leading the team or resolving issues, she spent her days gossiping, playing favorites, and micromanaging the wrong things. She would scrutinize expense reports down to the cent, but ignore critical project delays. She would take credit for any small victory and quickly point fingers when things went wrong. The team, which had once been a cohesive, high-performing unit under my leadership, was now fractured and demoralized. I saw the signs everywhere. Lunch breaks became quieter. The usual banter in the office dried up. People looked hunched over their desks, their shoulders slumped. I heard whispers in the break room, frustrated sighs during team calls. My former team members, whom I had helped grow and develop, were clearly struggling. There was David, our lead developer, who always had a witty comment or a clever solution. Now, he looked perpetually exhausted, constantly battling bugs from rushed deadlines and Mark's changing requirements. He used to be passionate about new coding techniques. Now he just looked defeated. I saw him stay late, night after night, trying to fix problems that stemmed from poor planning by Mark and Sarah. Then there was Maria, our marketing specialist. She was a creative powerhouse, always coming up with brilliant campaigns. Under me, she had flourished. Now, Sarah kept shooting down her ideas, calling them too out of the box or not aligned with Mark's vision. Maria's usually vibrant presentations became dull and uninspired. I overheard her on a call, trying to explain to a client why a simple campaign was delayed for weeks. Her voice was strained, apologetic. Even Liam, the quietest member of the team, our data analyst, seemed to be unraveling. He was meticulous, precise. But Mark kept demanding quick and dirty reports that lacked accuracy. Then blamed Liam when the numbers didn't match his inflated expectations. Liam started making small mistakes, something he never did before. He looked nervous, constantly checking and rechecking his work, afraid of being called out. Tipping point came one afternoon when I overheard a conversation between David and Maria in the kitchen. They didn't see me initially. "I can't take this anymore, Maria," David muttered, running a hand through his already messy hair. "Mark just moved the deadline for the Zenith project up by 2 weeks, without adding any resources. And Sarah just told me I need to rewrite the entire backend. Again, because she misunderstood the client's requirements. It's a nightmare. I haven't seen my kids in days." Maria sighed. "Tell me about it. My new campaign ideas just get laughed out of the room. Sarah wants everything to be safe and traditional. And then she complains when our engagement numbers dip. I miss Alex. She actually understood what we did, and she trusted us." David nodded vigorously. "Yeah, Alex would have gone to bat for us. She would have told Mark to get real, and she would have let us do our jobs without breathing down our necks. This place is becoming toxic. I am seriously thinking about looking for something else." My heart ached for them, but a thrill of strategic satisfaction ran through me. This was it. This was the opening. They were unhappy. They were ready. They were good people trapped in a sinking ship, piloted by 2 people who had no idea what they were doing. I discreetly left the kitchen, my mind buzzing. Their desperation was palpable, confirmed what I already suspected. Mark and Sarah were destroying the very team that had been the backbone of the department. And that meant my plan, the audacious, risky plan of poaching them, suddenly seemed not only possible, but necessary. I started collecting contact details, not through the company directory, but subtly, linking connections, old personal email addresses exchanged during team outings, mutual friends. I made a mental note of their skills, their career aspirations, their personal situation. I wasn't just going to offer them a job. I was going to offer them a sanctuary, a place where their talents would be appreciated, their hard work rewarded, and their lives respected. The more I observed, the more convinced I became. They weren't just employees. They were victims of Mark and Sarah's incompetence and malice. Offering them a way out wasn't just revenge. It was salvation. And I knew they would be eager to listen. The stage was set. Ascendant Solutions was almost ready to launch, and my former team was reaching their breaking point. It was time to make my move. The time had come. Ascendant Solutions was legally incorporated. My seed funding was secure. I had a small, functional office space rented in a discreet building across town. The website was mocked up. The basic software architecture was in place. All that was missing was the most crucial element, the team. And I knew exactly who I wanted. I drafted a carefully worded email. It wasn't a job offer, not yet. It was an invitation, a feeler, a discreet whisper in the dark. I sent it to David, Maria, and Liam first. They were the ones I had observed most closely, the ones whose frustration felt most acute. I used my burner email address, an address they wouldn't immediately recognize as mine, but one that implied a connection. The subject line was simple, an opportunity for a brighter future. The body of the email was concise, dear name. I hope this message finds you well. I am writing to you because I am building something new, something truly innovative in our industry, and I believe your talent and expertise would be an invaluable asset to my vision. I've admired your work for a long time, and I know you possess a rare combination of skill and dedication. I am seeking individuals who are passionate about pushing boundaries, who thrive in a collaborative and supportive environment, and who are ready to make a significant impact. This is an opportunity to be part of a foundational team, shaping the future of a company from the ground up, with a focus on cutting-edge AI solutions for workflow optimization. If you are open to exploring new possibilities and are looking for a place where your contributions are truly valued, I'd be honored to connect and share more details. All conversations will be held in strict confidence. Stored reply to this email if you are interested in learning more, and I'll arrange a discreet meeting. Sincerely, A client. I chose A client as my sender name. It was vague enough not to immediately give me away, but just specific enough to feel professional. I knew it was a risk. They might ignore it, or worse, show it to Mark or Sarah. But I also knew their desperation. I hit send, my heart pounding. Within hours, David replied. His message was brief, curious, interested. Please provide more info. Maria replied the next morning, intrigued. When are you available for a chat? Liam took a bit longer, nearly a full day, but his reply came, I'd like to hear more. What exactly is this about? Relief washed over me, quickly followed by renewed focus. This was happening. I set up individual discreet meet, not at cafes near our old office, but in quiet, out-of-the-way places, like a small independent bookstore with a coffee shop in the back, or a park bench during their lunch break if they were coming. I scheduled them for different days and times, ensuring no one would cross paths. David was first. He looked more stressed than ever. When he arrived, his eyes scanned the room, looking nervous. I introduced myself, but not as Alex, their former colleague. I introduced myself as Alex from Ascendant Solutions. David, I began, keeping my voice calm and professional. Thank you for meeting me. I've been following your work for a while. You are one of the best developers I know. He looked surprised, a slight frown on his face. Thanks. So, what is this about? I leaned forward, lowering my voice slightly. I am building a company that prioritizes innovation and, most importantly, its people. We're developing cutting-edge AI platforms. And I'm looking for a lead developer who isn't just skilled, but who truly cares about the impact of their work. Someone who wants to build something meaningful, not just maintain someone else's legacy. I started outlining the technical vision, the challenging but rewarding projects, the potential for growth. I painted a picture of a company where his ideas would be heard, where he wouldn't be overworked and undervalued, where he could actually see his family. I talked about a flat hierarchy, direct access to leadership, me, and a culture of respect and support. I even mentioned a competitive salary and stock options, promising him a fair share of the future success. David listened, his expression slowly shifting from skepticism to interest, then to a flicker of hope. He started asking questions, deep technical questions. Questions that showed his passion was still there, just buried under layers of frustration. It sounds incredible, Alex, he said, finally. But I have to ask, how do you know so much about my work, and why me? This was the tricky part. I took a deep breath. David, I believe in transparency, up to a point. We have mutual connections in the industry, and your reputation precedes you. But more importantly, I paused, letting my gaze meet his. I know about the environment you are currently working in. I know what it's like to pour your heart into something, only to feel undervalued, to watch good ideas get stifled. I know you deserve better. A realization dawned on his face. He didn't say anything, but his eyes widened slightly. He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw a glimmer of recognition. He put two and two together. He didn't ask if I was that Alex, the one from his old company. He didn't need to. He just nodded slowly. I need some time to think about this, he said, his voice softer now. But thank you, Alex. This is a lot to take in. Of course, I replied. No pressure at all. Just know that If you decide to join, you'll be joining a team that's ready to change the game, and you'll be instrumental in that change." As he left, I felt a surge of confidence. He hadn't said yes, but he hadn't said no. He was thinking about it, and that was all I needed for now. The first domino had been nudged. Now for Maria and Liam. The game was truly afoot. Maria's meeting was different from David's. She was less guarded, more outwardly frustrated. When I introduced myself as Alex from Ascendant Solutions, she squinted slightly, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. "Alex," she repeated. "That name sounds really familiar." I didn't explicitly confirm her suspicions, but I didn't deny them either. "It's a common name," I said with a small smile. "But my work has often put me in the same circles as yours. Your marketing campaigns, even the ones that got shut down recently, have always impressed me. You have a knack for truly understanding what connects with people." Her shoulders slumped. "Thanks. Sarah hates anything that isn't safe. It's like working with my hands tied behind my back. My creative energy is just dying there." That was my opening. Exactly. And that's precisely what Ascendant Solutions is built to avoid. We believe in empowering our talent. We want bold ideas, fresh perspectives, and the freedom to truly innovate. Imagine a place where your best ideas are not only welcomed, but actively encouraged, where you have the budget and the autonomy to bring them to life. I laid out the vision for her role, not just as a marketing specialist, but as a strategic partner, shaping the brand from its very inception. I emphasized the direct impact she would have, the chance to build something from the ground up, to see her creativity unleashed without the bureaucratic red tape or the stifling influence of unimaginative managers. I talked about work-life balance, about a team that supported each other, not competed. I even mentioned a competitive salary with performance bonuses, emphasizing that talent would be generously rewarded. Maria listened, her eyes widening, a glimmer of her old spark returning. She asked about the company culture, about growth opportunities, about the types of clients we'd be targeting. I answered honestly, painting a picture of a dynamic, forward-thinking environment, completely different from the stagnant political mire she was currently stuck in. "This sounds like a dream, Alex," she admitted, her voice soft with longing. "Honestly, I've been so miserable. I feel like I am wasting my potential. But leaving is scary. What if it doesn't work out?" "Maria," I said gently, "every new venture has risks. But what's riskier? Staying in a place that makes you unhappy and undervalues you, or taking a chance on building something extraordinary, where you are respected and celebrated?" I paused. "Think about what you are losing by staying. Think about what you could gain by joining a team that truly believes in you." She thought for a moment, then nodded decisively. "Okay, I am in. I am ready for a change. What do I need to do?" A wave of triumph washed over me. "Wonderful, Maria. I'll send you an official offer package. It includes all the details, salary, benefits, and a non-disclosure agreement. Once you review and sign, we can set a start date. The sooner, the better." Maria's immediate acceptance boosted my confidence immensely. Now it was Liam's turn. Liam was even more cautious than Dave. He arrived for our meeting looking hesitant, his usual quiet demeanor amplified by nerves. "I don't usually do these sorts of things," he admitted, adjusting his glasses. "I am not much of a job hopper." "I understand, Liam," I said reassuringly. "And I appreciate you taking the time. I know you value stability and precision. That's why I reached out to you. Your analytical skills are truly unparalleled, and they're exactly what Ascendant Solutions needs to build a robust, data-driven foundation." I described how his role would be crucial, not just crunching numbers, but shaping the very intelligence of the company. I spoke about clean data, meticulous processes, and how his insights would directly inform strategic decisions. I emphasized the importance of accuracy and detail, knowing how frustrated he was with Mark's demand for quick and dirty reports. I also highlighted that our culture was one where facts and data reigned supreme, not baseless opinions or political maneuvering. We believe in making decisions based on solid evidence, Liam, I explained. Your work would be the backbone of our operational efficiency and our client success. You wouldn't just be an analyst, you'd be the architect of our understanding. He listened, his posture slowly relaxing. My current work environment has become quite challenging, he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. The pressure for speed over accuracy, it's difficult. I worry about the integrity of the data. That integrity is exactly what we value above all else, I assured him. We're building something long-term, something reliable, and we need someone like you to ensure that reliability from day one. I can offer you a chance to build the data infrastructure from scratch, to implement best practices, to create a system that truly works. I made a generous offer, matching his current salary and adding a substantial bonus for being an early hire, along with stock options. I also offered flexible hours, understanding his need for a quiet, focused environment. Liam was clearly weighing the pros and cons. I need to think this over very carefully, he finally said. It's a big decision for me. I've been with my current company for a long time. Take all the time you need, Liam, I said, handing him my discreet business card with the Ascendant Solutions email. But please know, this opportunity won't be open indefinitely. We're moving fast, and we would be truly honored to have you on board. He left, still looking thoughtful but less stressed. I knew he was a man who needed certainty and time to process. I was confident I had given him enough compelling reasons to make the leap. Having secured Maria and planted strong seeds with David and Liam, I moved on to other key individuals from my old team. Project managers, account executives, and junior developers. The story was similar for each. They were tired, undervalued, and craving a better environment. Some recognized me immediately, some didn't. For those who did, I acknowledged our past connection but swiftly moved to the future, emphasizing the opportunity, not the revenge. I focused on building something new and better. The feeling of momentum was incredible. My confidence soared with each positive response. The team I had built and loved, the one Mark and Sarah were systematically dismantling, was slowly, quietly, being reassembled, piece by piece, under my new banner. The old company had no idea. Not yet. The first resignation hit the old company like a minor tremor. It was Dave. He submitted his 2 weeks' notice to Mark and Sarah, citing pursuit of a new opportunity. I heard about it through the office grapevine, a ripple of surprised whispers. Mick probably dismissed it as a one-off, an unlucky departure. Sarah might have even felt a pang of satisfaction, thinking it cleared a path for one of her less talented favorites. They were so wrong. David started with Ascendant Solutions 2 weeks later. The next week, Maria's resignation landed on Mark's desk. This time, there was a little more concern. 2 key people from the same department within a week of each other. Mike called her into his office, probably trying to dissuade her, offering a counter-offer. But Maria was firm. She simply said she was looking for a more innovative environment where her creative input was truly valued. She smiled at me on her way out, a subtle, knowing glance that promised unspoken solidarity. Then came Liam's resignation. This was the moment the old company truly began to panic. Liam, who had been there for almost a decade, known for his unwavering loyalty. Mark burst out of his office, red-faced, demanding answers. Sarah looked genuinely flustered. 3 core team members gone in a month. And all from the same department, the one I used to lead. They started asking questions, trying to figure out if there was a pattern. But no one was giving them answers. My former team members were incredibly discreet, following my instructions to the letter. They simply stated they were moving to a new company that offered a better cultural fit and more growth potential. The snowball effect was swift and brutal. Once the first few brave souls left, others felt empowered. The remaining team members saw the writing on the wall. Mark and Sarah were creating a toxic environment, and the best people were abandoning ship. Soon, 2 more project managers resigned. Then, a junior developer. Then, an account executive. Each resignation was a fresh wound for Mark and Sarah, and a new surge of strength for Ascendant Solutions. At Ascendant Solutions, the energy was electric. My new team, my old team, was buzzing with excitement. We were reunited, not in the same old suffocating office, but in a vibrant, collaborative space, building something new. David was tackling complex coding challenges with renewed vigor. Maria was unleashing a torrent of brilliant marketing ideas. Liam was meticulously laying the groundwork for our data systems, his eyes gleaming with quiet satisfaction. We held our first official team meeting, not in a stuffy conference room, but gathered around a large whiteboard, sketching out ideas, brainstorming, laughing. The camaraderie was instant. They knew why they were here. They knew what we were building. It wasn't just a company, it was a revolution. I launched Ascendant Solutions quietly, with a press release that focused on our innovative AI solutions and our experienced leadership team, carefully avoiding any direct mentions of our previous employer. I wanted the success to speak for itself. But the tech industry is a small world. People talk, headhunters talk, clients talk. At my old company, chaos reigned. Jacks were stalling, deadlines were being missed, and the remaining staff were overworked and demoralized. Mark and Sarah were constantly squabbling, blaming each other for the exodus. They tried to hire replacements, but the talent pool was quickly drying up. Good people were hearing about the mass resignations and the poor management. And the best people were already with me. I still went into the old office during my last remaining days. It was surreal. The department I had built was a ghost town. Empty desks stared back at me. The once lively hub was now eerily quiet, punctuated only by Mark's frustrated shouts from his office, or Sarah's high-pitched complaints on the phone. They looked haggard, desperate. They tried to question me, to pry information about where everyone was going. "Alex," Mark said one afternoon, cornering me by the coffee machine, "do you know anything about where everyone is going? Here has been an unprecedented number of resignations. It's crippling us." I met his gaze, my expression neutral. "Mark, I am just focused on my own work here. People leave for various reasons. Perhaps it's a symptom of deeper issues." I took a sip of my coffee, enjoying the moment. Sarah, who had joined him, chimed in, her voice shrill. "Almost like someone is poaching our best people. Someone with a grudge." I raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. "That sounds like a serious accusation, Sarah. And frankly, a rather paranoid one. Who would even have the capability to do something like that?" I paused, letting the implication hang in the air. Perhaps people are simply seeking a more supportive environment, where their contributions are recognized. They exchanged uncomfortable glances. They suspected me, I knew it, but they had no proof. My resignation was already planned for the end of the month. A simple, polite notice. I didn't owe them anything else. The final day arrived. I cleaned out my desk, packing up the few personal items I had left. No dramatic farewells, no emotional goodbyes. I simply walked out of the building, a quiet satisfaction spreading through me. cold, empty office I left behind was a stark contrast to the vibrant, growing company I was now leading. They had sabotaged my promotion. They had tried to destroy my career. But they had only cleared the path for me to build something far greater. And as I stepped into the sunlight, I knew this was just the beginning of Ascendant Solutions' rise and their inevitable fall. The revenge was sweet, but the creation was even sweeter. The impact of the mass exodus on my old company, Innovate Tech, was immediate and devastating. The department I once led, now barely a skeleton crew, was completely unable to manage its workload. Yaks stalled, client commitments were missed, and the quality of their deliverables plummeted. Mark, the newly promoted senior director, was utterly lost. He had climbed the ladder on my back, and now that the backbone was gone, he floundered. He was constantly stressed, micromanaging the few remaining junior staff who were completely overwhelmed. His meetings were now shouting matches, desperate attempts to blame anyone but himself. Cons, who had grown accustomed to the efficiency and expertise of my former team, started complaining. They saw the dramatic drop in service, the lack of knowledgeable contacts, and the general air of panic emanating from Innovatech. Sarah, my treacherous former colleague, was suffering even more. Having taken over my old role, she was directly in the line of fire. She tried to boss around the remaining employees, but without the experienced talent, she had nothing to direct. She spent her days frantically trying to put out fires, often making things worse. I heard through an industry contact that she was visibly stressed, constantly on the phone, trying to explain away missed deadlines and unhappy clients. Her reputation, which had been built on riding coattails, was now crumbling. The news started leaking to the broader industry. Innovatech stock, once stable, began to dip. Analysts questioned their operational efficiency and talent retention. Competitors started circling, sniffing for weakness, ready to poach their remaining clients. It was a spectacular implosion, happening in plain sight. Meanwhile, Ascendant Solutions was soaring. My team, my old team, was absolutely thriving. The atmosphere in our office was the polar opposite of Innovatech's. There was laughter, collaboration, and a genuine sense of purpose. We worked hard, yes, but we worked smart, and we worked together. David, our lead developer, was a force of nature, free from Mark's arbitrary deadlines and Sarah's constant interference. He was coding with a passion I hadn't seen in years. He led his small team of new hires, and my poached junior developers with clear vision and genuine support. Art AI platforms were developing at an incredible pace, exceeding all my initial projections. Maria, in marketing, was consistently delivering groundbreaking campaigns. She had the creative freedom she craved, and the results spoke for themselves. Our brand awareness grew exponentially, attracting positive media attention and a steady stream of inbound inquiries. Her energy was infectious, motivating everyone around her. Liam, our data analyst, had built a robust data infrastructure from the ground up, a system of unparalleled accuracy and efficiency. He looked relaxed, even happy. His reports were precise, his insights invaluable, forming the backbone of our strategic decision. He was finally respected for his meticulous work, not pressured to compromise it. The rest of the team, the project managers, account executives, and other specialists I had brought over, were equally invigorated. They took ownership of their roles, contributing ideas and collaborating seamlessly. We had daily stand-ups where everyone felt heard, and weekly innovation sessions where even the wildest ideas were considered. Contrast with Innovatech's stifling fear-based culture couldn't be starker. Our first few clients, acquired through a combination of Maria's brilliant marketing and my personal network, were incredibly impressed. They had been frustrated by the stagnation and poor service of larger, older companies, Innovate, Tech included, though I never explicitly named. Ascendant Solutions offered them agile, innovative solutions, delivered by a highly experienced and motivated team. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. We were gaining a reputation as the new, reliable, and forward-thinking alternative. I didn't gloat, not openly. I maintained a professional distance. But every positive client review, every new deal closed, every happy face in my office was a quiet victory. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about building something genuinely better. It was about proving that a company built on integrity, talent, and respect could not only survive but truly flourish. One afternoon I received a call from an old colleague, someone still at Innovatech. Her voice was hushed, almost a whisper. "Alex," she said, "it's a disaster here. Mark just got a formal warning from Mr. Henderson. And Sarah is being investigated for project mismanagement. They're both completely overwhelmed. There are rumors of layoffs. Everyone's looking for a way out." I listened, my heart a mix of satisfaction and genuine empathy for the remaining good people still stuck there. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, trying to sound neutral. "So, where did everyone go?" She pressed, her voice urgent. "Is it true what they're saying? That a new company started up and poached everyone?" I chuckled softly. "People go where they feel valued, where they can make an impact. That's true in any industry, and good talent will always find a way to shine." I didn't confirm her suspicions, but I didn't need to. The truth was unfolding before their eyes. Innovatech was crumbling, not because of a direct attack, but because the foundation I had built, and they had neglected, was now supporting a different, stronger structure. Ascendant Solutions was proof that while you could sabotage a person, you couldn't sabotage true talent and integrity. And the universe, in its own way, was delivering justice. The Industry Awards Gala was an annual event, a glitzy affair, where companies celebrated their successes. Ascendant Solutions, still relatively new, had received a nomination for Most Innovative Startup. It was a proud moment for me and my team. We arrived looking sharp, confident, and genuinely happy. As we mingled, laughing and chatting, I spotted them across the crowded ballroom. Mark and Sarah, they looked different. Mark was noticeably thinner, his usually perfectly coiffed hair a bit messy, his suit looking a little less sharp. Sarah had dark circles under her eyes, and her forced smile didn't quite reach them. They were huddled near the back, looking uncomfortable, almost like they were trying to be invisible. Innovatech hadn't received any nominations this year, a stark contrast to their previous dominance. Our eyes met. Mark's jaw tightened. Sarah's fake smile faltered completely, replaced by a scowl. They knew they had to. The rumors had been swirling. The industry news had been relentless about Innovatech's woes. And Ascendant Solutions' rapid rise. My entire former team was here, laughing, celebrating, thriving, all wearing Ascendant Solutions badges. It was undeniable. I maintained my composure, offering them a polite, distant nod, then turned back to my team, engaging in enthusiastic conversation. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing any weakness or anger. This wasn't about a heated confrontation. It was about demonstrating irrefutable success. Later, during the cocktail hour, Mark approached me. He looked like he was forcing himself to do it. His face was pale. "Alex," he said, his voice strained, "congratulations on the nomination. Your company seems to be doing very well." "Thank you, Mark," I replied, my voice calm and pleasant. "We've been working hard. My team is exceptional." I emphasized my team. He shifted his weight, looking around nervously. "It's a strange coincidence, isn't it? So many talented people leaving Innovatech at once, and then appearing at your new company." I met his gaze, a hint of amusement in my eyes. Is it a coincidence, Mark? Or is it a natural migration? Talent seeks opportunity. People seek environments where they are valued, supported, and given the resources to succeed. I simply offered that. He bristled slightly. But you specifically targeted our people. You poached them. Mark, I said. My voice still even. I offered opportunities to individuals who were actively seeking a change. I did not coerce or mislead anyone. They chose to come to Ascendant Solutions because they believed in our vision and our culture. You should ask yourself why so many of your talented employees chose to leave. Sarah then arrived, her face tight with anger. You knew what you were doing, Alex. You did this deliberately. After all we did for you. I raised an eyebrow. All you did for me? Sarah, you betrayed me. You sabotaged my career. I built that department. I nurtured that team. And you and Mark dismantled it for your own personal gain. Don't talk to me about what you did for me. Her face went red. That's a ridiculous accusation. Here is no proof. Oh, here's proof, I said, my voice dropping slightly. Just enough for them to hear. Here is the Phoenix Project document, for example. The one that was doctored to make me look incompetent. The one that cost me my promotion. The one sent from my own email, which only a very few trusted people had access to. The kind of people who would then benefit from my downfall. I let the words hang in the air, cold and undeniable, their faces drained of color. Mark stammered, I don't know what you are talking about. Sarah just stared at me, her mouth slightly agape, all pretense gone. Don't worry, I continued, giving them a small, tight smile. I am not interested in dwelling on the past or pursuing legal action. My focus is on the future, on building something truly great with my exceptional team. And we are doing just that. I gestured to my team, who were now laughing loudly at a table nearby, completely oblivious to the tense conversation. It seems some people learn from their mistakes and rise above, while others are left to deal with the consequences of their actions. I then looked pointedly at Mark. I hear Innovatech is facing some significant challenges. Perhaps you should focus your efforts there. With that, I turned my back on them and walked away. Rejoining my team, I felt a profound sense of satisfaction. Not the petty joy of inflicting pain, but the quiet triumph of justice served. They saw what they had lost. They saw what I had built. And they knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was the reason. The rest of the evening was a celebration. Ascendant Solutions won the Most Innovative Startup Award, and I accepted it on behalf of my incredible team. As I looked out at the cheering faces, especially those of David, Maria, and Liam, who beamed with pride, I knew this was far more valuable than any promotion at Innovatech. This was my company, built on integrity, talent, and hard work. And the satisfaction of seeing Mark and Sarah's faces crumble as they witnessed our success was the sweetest icing on the cake. Their empire was falling, and mine was just beginning to shine. The awards gala was the turning point. After that public display of Ascendant Solutions' success and Innovatech's visible decline, things accelerated dramatically. The media started openly reporting on Innovatech's troubles, linking their plummeting stock and client losses to a mass talent exodus. The article subtly hinted at internal mismanagement, painting a clear picture without ever explicitly naming me as the catalyst. Within months, the unthinkable happened. Innovatech, once a respected name in the industry, was on the verge of collapse. They had lost too many key clients, too much talent, and their reputation was in tatters. Mr. Henderson, the CEO who had overlooked my warnings, finally made a move. Beck was publicly demoted, stripped of his senior director title, and given a less visible dead-end role. A clear signal that he was being sidelined before an inevitable layoff. Sarah, meanwhile, was fired outright for gross mismanagement and poor performance. The news spread like wildfire through the industry. I heard the details from my industry contacts. Mark was reportedly spiraling, his arrogance replaced by bitter resentment and self-pity. Sarah was struggling to find a new job, her name now tarnished in the close-knit tech community. The universe, it seemed, had a way of delivering karma. Ascendant Solutions, on the other hand, was flourishing. We continued to grow, taking on more clients, expanding our team with genuinely talented individuals who were eager to be part of our unique culture. We even acquired some of Innovate Tech's smaller struggling assets at a bargain price, including some of their old client contracts that my former team was now uniquely positioned to revive and improve. It was a poetic end to their story and a powerful beginning for ours. One day I received an anonymous email. It was a job application. The name on the resume made me pause. It was Sarah. She was applying for a junior project manager role, essentially an entry-level position at my company. A flicker of vengeful satisfaction ran through me, quickly replaced by a sense of calm resolve. I drafted a polite but firm rejection email. It wasn't gloating. It wasn't personal. It was simply a standard, professional refusal, citing a lack of current openings that matched her specific experience. I didn't mention her past or her betrayal. I didn't need to. The rejection itself was enough. She would know. A week later, another application arrived. Mark. For a senior account executive position. I handled it the same way. A polite, professional rejection. No explanation. No emotion. Just a quiet, definitive no. It was then, looking at those applications from the very people who had tried to destroy me, that I truly reflected on the journey. Was it worth the sleepless nights, the relentless planning, the constant pressure of building a company from scratch? A resounding yes. It wasn't just about revenge. While the initial spark had been fueled by anger and injustice, the true reward was far greater. I hadn't just torn down their empire. I had built my own, a better one. Company founded on principles of integrity, innovation, and genuine respect for its people. My team, my beloved team, was happy. They were thriving. They were earning well, building incredible things, and genuinely enjoying their work. David was leading an entire engineering department, pioneering new AI applications. Maria was winning industry awards for her groundbreaking campaigns. Liam was running a top-tier data analytics division, his expertise sought after by major corporations. We had built a family, a true community, something Mark and Sarah could never understand or replicate. Standing in the bustling, vibrant, open-plan office of Ascendant Solutions, watching my team collaborate, innovate, and laugh, I felt a deep, profound sense of peace. The bitter taste of betrayal had been replaced by the sweet flavor of success, earned through hard work and genuine leadership. I thought back to that Tuesday when my world had shattered. I thought about the tears, the anger, the feeling of being utterly powerless. And then I looked around at the thriving company I had built. I had taken that pain, that injustice, and transformed it into power. I hadn't just gotten even, I had surpassed them in every conceivable way. They sabotaged my promotion. And in return, I built a new company and hired their entire team. And that, I realized, was the most satisfying victory of all. Not just for me, but for every single person who had suffered under their misguided leadership. I had given them a new beginning, and in doing so I had forged my own destiny. The future was bright, and it was entirely my own.